agencies, and our dear guests. I would like to call to order this budget briefing of the Subcommittee M of the Committee on Finance on the budgets of the Department of Trade and Industry and its attached agencies, including TESDA and APECO. I'd also like to, and I hope I'm not offending anyone with this, but I'd like to congratulate Secretary Pascual for the victory of UP last night. Sana walang magalit sa akin. But congratulations, sir. I'm sure you woke up with a smile in your face this morning. Let me first acknowledge the presence of the following senators attending physically. We have Senator Rafi Tulfo.
Thank you. Thank you.
A very strong advocate for consumer protection. And of course, we have our esteemed Senator Bongo, who's also a known supporter of MSMEs. So welcome and good morning. At this point, may I ask the committee secretary to acknowledge our resource persons?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The committee would like to acknowledge the physical and virtual presence and participation of our distinguished guests and officials and staff of the Department of Trade and Industry. First, we have Secretary Honorable Alfredo Pascual. We also have the Undersecretary and Chief of Staff under the Office of the Secretary. We have Yusek Ana Carolina Sanchez. From the Office of the Secretary, Legal and Legislative Affairs, we have Yusek Herminio Bagro III. From the Management Service Group, we have Undersecretary Irineo Vismonte. From the Regional Operations Group, we have Undersecretary Blesilia Lantayona. From the Consumer Protection Group, we have Undersecretary Ruth Castelo. From the Competitiveness and Innovation Group, we have Undersecretary Rafaelita Aldaba. From the Bureau of Internal Trade Relations, we have Assistant Secretary Alan Jepti. From the Trade Promotions Group, we have Assistant Secretary Glenn Peñaranda. From the Office of the Secretary, Digital Philippines, we have Assistant Secretary Mary Jean Pacheco. Attending virtually, we have from PMS, Mr. Dane Marvic Palencia. We also have ASEC Dominic Tolentino and Assistant Director Maria Cecilia Socorro Abogado. From the attached agencies of the Department of Trade and Industry, we have from the Board of Investments, we have Maria Veronica Magsino. We also have the Executive Director Doris Gacho from Construction Industry Authority of the Philippines. From the Construction Industry Authority of the Philippines, we also have Herbert Machenso. From Small Business Corporation, we have Mr. Robert Bastilio from the Philippine Trade Training Center. We have Edinelli Nita Diliera. From the Science Center of the Philippines, we have Edi Maria Rita Matute. From the Philippine International Trading Corporation, we have President Emiliza Perez Chong. From the Philippine International Trading Corporation, we have Josefina Batino Campo. From the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, we have DDZ Vivian Santos. Attending virtually, we have Director Janet Cuenca. We also have the Regional Director Marcelina Alcantara, Regional Director Grace Baluyan, Regional Director Leonila Baluyot, RD Marisa Argente, RD Rodrigo Aguilar, OIC RD Ermelinda Polientes, RD Celerina Bato, and RD Hermezo Abang. We also have Ms. Jan Mitra, Ms. Carla Placido, and Gina Social attending virtually. We also have SVP from Basis Convention Development Authority, Mr. Ari Perez, and Ms. Eleanor Tejada and Jeneline Fatalio. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Well, thank you. And at this point, I'd like to make a correction. I mentioned earlier, including TESDA and APECO, the attached agencies. Actually, this hearing is excluding, I'll make that correction, excluding TESDA, APECO, and CDA. Just as a matter of record, I'd like to correct that. Thank you very much. Thank you, ComSec, and good morning to the DTI family. Before we start with the presentations, allow me first to express my full support for the Department of Trade and Industry and its attached agencies' 2023 proposed budget. During the President's SONA, President Bongbong Marcos said, and I quote, "to foster the Filipino brand that is unique, attractive, and creative," and further recognize that we, quote, "require an institutionalized creative industry that will advance the interests of its stakeholders." Noting that the national budget will support the development of the Filipino brand and honor the world-class creativity of the Filipinos, thus making the country an investment destination. As chairperson of the Senate Committee on Trade, Commerce, and Entrepreneurship, I filed and heard various bills pursuant to the administration's goal that our economic transformation must be towards productivity, inclusivity, and sustainability. These are in line with the supporting MSMEs, assisting market access, and promoting the products and services of local communities. Some of these bills are the One Town, One Product Act, Go Local Philippines Act, and Pondo sa Pagbabago at Pag-Asenso Act, among others. These bills primarily seek to strengthen and develop our MSMEs and facilitate job creation. Upon study of the DTI proposed budget and careful perusal, we see that there is a reduction as compared to the current year's budget, despite being one of the priorities of the President Marcos stated during his SONA. We would like to know which programs would be affected by the decrease, as we must ensure that all initiatives are implemented properly. To the DTI, I am looking forward to the details of your 2023 budget. Perhaps you can discuss the programs on exports and investments, industry development, and consumer protection. I am also interested in hearing the comments of the DTI on a recent report indicating that the Philippine trade deficit widened to $6 billion in August. Imports surged by 26% to $12.41 billion, slowing down from a growth rate of 22.2% in July and 28.3% in August last year. The programs to be funded in 2023 should also address the trade deficit and boost the economy by strengthening the export programs of the government. Further, I would like to hear from the DTI about the procedures and mechanisms in place to monitor and address the rising prices of goods, which will have a direct impact on consumers as the holiday season approaches, and how we can provide assistance to MSMEs and rural communities in the growing local economy. And at this point, before we turn it over to the agency, may I ask if and I'd like to welcome first Senate Minority Floor Leader, Senator Coco Pimentel. And may I ask my fellow senators if they have any opening statements? Yes, I'd like to first recognize Senator Raffy Tulfo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. After my opening statement, is it okay if I would proceed in asking just a couple of questions?
Yes, please. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Okay, the Department of Trade and Industry is a very valuable agency, especially for a poor country like us, like ours, because you protect the consumers from goods that are hazardous and dangerous to the consumers, especially products that are mostly consumed by those in the low income bracket who can only afford to buy instant noodles and sardines. That's why, like what I've been saying all along in the previous budget hearing that I've attended for other department, I will not object, I will not oppose, nor question the budget that you are requesting. As a matter of fact, I would even entertain support, if need be, should you ask for additional budget for 2023. And you have my full support, that I promise you. Now, on the other hand, I would like to remind everybody present here from the DTI, isa po sa pinaka-importanting mandato po ninyo ay makikita sa Article 10 ng Consumer Act of the Philippines. At ito po ay nagsasabing, whenever the department find by their own initiative or by petition for consumer that a consumer product is found to be injurious, unsafe, or dangerous, it shall after due notice and hearing make the appropriate order for its recall, prohibition, or seizure from public sale or distribution, provided that in the sound discretion of the department, it may declare a consumer product to be imminently injurious, unsafe, or dangerous in order its immediate recall, ban, or seizure from public sale or distribution, in which case the seller, distributor, manufacturer or producer, therefore, shall be afforded a hearing within 48 hours from such order. So, pagpaiksin po natin ito, kasama po sa inyong mandato na i-monitor po, again, on your own initiative, yung po mga produkto na ibinibenta po sa merkado, especially po para sa akin, na produkto na kinukonsumo po ng mga mahirap nating kababayan. And what I'm referring to po ay itong mga instant noodles and sardines. Now, siguro po marahil ilan sa inyo ay hindi kumakain ito. Pero ako po nakakain na ito ilang beses. Kung babasahin niyo po dito sa label, napakataas po ng sodium content. Ang allowed lang po, daily sodium content, sabi po ng mga eksperto natin is 2,000 per day. Dito po makikita natin merong 1.6, merong 1.8, may 1.9. Once a day lang po yung 2,000 sinasabi, ano po. And ito pong mga instant noodles na ito, hindi lang po once a day kinukonsum to ng mga mahirap. Kasi this is the only food that they can afford. Kaya nga po ang tawag dito, poor man's food. Now, some of them will consume twice a day, 3 times a day, at kung minsan may kasama pang merienda. So off the chart na po talaga kung bibilangin natin sa, sabihin natin sa 1,500 na lang talaga. So this is 1,515, 1,515, 3,000. Sobra-sobra na po. Maraming beses na po tayo nakarinig mula po sa ating mga health experts, medical experts, even mga consumer advocates na nagsasabing too much sodium po itong mga produktong ito na binibenta sa ating mga merkado. By the way, to just remind you, 1,200,000 Filipinos every single year ang nagkakasakit po sa kidney. Dahil po sa pagkonsumo ng mga maalat na produkto. Yang survey na po yan ay nanggaling po sa National Kidney Institute natin. Now, meron naman po alternatibo para mapababaan po yung sodium nito. Again, I would like to reiterate na hindi po ako against sa pagbebenta nito. As a matter of fact, botong-boto po ako kasi ito lang po yung mga pagkain kaya po namang mahirap nating kababayan. So hindi ko po pinatatanggal to. Continue selling this because this is affordable, especially for the poor. In fact, ginagamit po ito kapag may mga kalamidad, ginagawang pagdidistribute yung tinatawag na food packs para naman sa mga nasalanta ng bagyo. However, ilagay po dapat natin sa lugar yung pagbebenta o pagbebenta ng mga pagkain, especially po na kinukonsumo ng mga mahirap. Ang mga mahirap po nating kababayan, mukhang napapabayaan. Napapabayaan po sila dahil hindi po nakikita yung kanilang kapakanan in the name of making revenue at their expense. Bakit po tuwing meron po tayong ginagawa o meron pong nangyayaring bentahan ng mga pagkain, bakit po hindi natin tinitingnan yung kapakanan ng mga maliliit nating kababayan, especially on this one, na sila naman po talaga ang kumukonsumo nito? Now, my question, Sir, Ma'am, ano po ang ginagawa po ng DTI? Sa pagkatagal-tagal na ng panahon, marami na po mga eksperto nagsabi, "Hoy, masyado mataas ang sodium contents ng mga instant noodle natin, injurious and hazardous po yan sa kalusugan ng mga mamamayan." And yet, it continues, it goes on and on and on, at wala po nagsasalita mga taga-DTI para sabihin, yes, tama nga po pala kayo, hey, manufacturers, babaan niyo po yung sodium contents niyan. Because I can give you an example, dahil sasabihin niyo po na kapag pinabaan na yung sodium content, hindi na masarap. Nope. Ayon po sa pag-aaral, especially sa Japan, meron pong alternatibo na para hindi na po kailangan gamitin pa yung sodium. May tinatawag na magnesium chloride. as alternative to sodium chloride to instant noodles. Sa Japan po, ginagamit itong magnesium chloride. Hindi na po sila gumagamit ng sodium chloride. Now, I'll give you an example. Yung pong pinaka top seller sa Amerika na sardinas, bumuelta tayo sa sardinas po, sample pa. 70 milligrams lamang po ang content ng kanilang sodium. 70 po 70. Sa Pilipinas, ang sodium content ng sardinas, Ligo sardines 610. 555 sardines 600. Mega sardines 310. Young Town sardines 207. Unipack 252. Now, bakit po hindi natin pwedeng gayahin itong sa Amerika na mababa po yung sodium content and on top of that, ginagawa pang yung alternatibo na sinabi ko kanina na kapalit po ng salt. Bakit po?
First of all, I want to greet the members of the subcommittee chaired by Senator Mark Villar, and with the presence of Senator Rafi Tulfo and Senator Coco Pimentel. Now, I will respond to the issues raised by His Honor Senator Rafi Tulfo. Okay ba? Yeah, we realize the issues raised are very important, and hopefully, well, I wish we could have acted on this, but unfortunately, Your Honor, Senator Tulfo, the responsibility for the issues that you raise does not fall on DTI, but rather on the Food and Drug Administration.
FDA, Agriculture, and DOH,
The
tama?
implementing agencies, as provided for in the Consumer Act, Republic Act 93-94, the provisions of this article and its implementing rules shall be enforced by A, the Department of Health,
Okay?
with respect to food, drugs, cosmetics, devices, and substances. B, Department of Agriculture with respect to products related to agriculture. And C, Department of Trade and Industry with respect to other consumer products not specified.
So nabanggit po yung pangalan dito ng DTI.
Hindi po sa responsibility ng DTI na i-certify yung composition ng food products.
So, sorry sir, I have to interrupt you, Mr. Secretary. Ito naman po tayo, tuwing magkakaroon po ako ng hearing, example na lang po, yung sa energy, nagtuturoan po kayo. Nagtuturoan po, nakakalungkot po ito eh. Wala pong gustong umamin, wala pong gustong umako. Dito naman po sa Article 10, nakalagay doon, on your own initiative. So dapat po kayo mismo gumagawa ng inyong initiative. Hindi niyo na po kailangan pa mapagsabihan. Kasi po at stake dito yung kalusugan, welfare ng ating mga mahihirap na kababayan. Because these are the food o products na kinakain po ng mga mahirap. And siguro po, kayo po, I bet you, hindi po kayo kumakain ito kasi alam niyo naman po siguro, baka health buff po kayo, hindi siguro kayo kumakain ito dahil alam niyo po, ang consequence kung palagi kayo kumain ito. So siguro po, mga kinakain ninyo, baka mga fettuccine, o kung ano pang mga masasarap na mamahaling mga produkto. Ano pa ba yung sa mga ano? Sino ba mayaman dyan? Ano ba pasta? Ano pa? Ano pa yung mga pasta? Kasi hindi ako mayaman, hindi ko kumakain eh. Hindi yung sa mga noodles. Pasta. Tumalon yung titig ko. Sino ba mayaman dito? Umiwas kayo Kasi ako hindi kumakain nun. Hindi yan. Yung pasta, okay yun. So, sige, magkonsulta kayo. Siguro yun ang kinakain nyo, pasta. Hindi kayo kumakain ng instant noodle. Ako nakakain ako nito. Pero, nung malaman ko na napakataas ng sodium content, tinigil ko na po. Now, ang mahirap po dito, Mr. Secretary, agad-agad, inalis niyo po ang responsibility sa inyong tanggapan. Sana po naman, kayo po mga nasa gobyerno, huwag na ho tayo magturuan kung kakapakanan po ng taong bayan ang pinag-uusapan dito. It should be on your own initiative. If you know these products are not good for the health of the Filipino people because they're considered as hazardous at sinabi na po ng mga eksperto yan, dapat po on your own. Huwag po tayo maging Poncio Pilato, maghugas ng kamay and pointing fingers sa ibang departamento. Hindi po maganda yan. Hindi po healthy yan. Hindi po. Pangit po yan. Pag nalaman po natin na ito po pala ay mataas ang sodium content at narinig na po natin sa mga health experts, marami na po nagsasabi, mga consumer advocate, paulit-ulit na lamang po, dapat po umaaksyon na kayo on your own. Hindi po yung sabihin nyo, hindi po namin kasi trabaho yan. Trabaho ng FDA yan. Trabaho ng Department of Agriculture. Trabaho ng Department of Health. Hindi po. Dapat, ang gagawin nyo, hey, DOH, Agriculture, FDA, mag-usap-usap tayo. Teka muna. Hazardous to health pala ito. Injurious sa health ng mga consumer, lalo ng mga hirap nating kababayan. Mag-usap tayo. Ganun po ang gusto ko marinig. Hindi po yung magtuturoan kayo left and right.
Hindi po kami nagtuturoan, Senator Rafi.
Sandali lang po, sir. Sorry po, sir. Kasi po,
Klaro-klaro ang batas na sinusunod namin. At saka ang DTI, walang, hindi lang authority, wala rin competence, ano?
ayan, sir, by their own initiative. What does it mean by their own initiative? Ibig sabihin, dapat po, sir, meron kayong initiative.
Expert, health expert na magsasabi sa
Sir,
atin.
marami na po nagsasalita ng mga medical expert.
Hindi dapat
In fact,
iyahin natin sa ano yan, sa DOH.
kaya nga, sir, kaya nga sinasabi ko, sir, kasi po kayo nasa frontline sa pagbebenta, sa pag-aalaw na itong mga produktong ito mailagay sa shelf ng mga department stores, trabaho niyo po yan. Dapat kasama rin po sa inyong trabaho na para mag-check at alamin kung ano ba talaga itong mga produkto ito, anong laman ito. Of course, FDA. Pero sana, sir, marami na pong eksperto nagsasalita niyan, di ba? Marami na po. In fact, I for one did speak at one point about the high sodium contents of this product na I'm sure po nakarating sa inyo, imposible hindi. Marami na po nagsalita. In fact, even Dr. Willie Ong, na sikat po sa social media, nagsalita na rin po siya. Don't tell me hindi po nakarating sa inyo yun. Marami na po mga medical expert nagsasalita tungkol dito. Don't tell me hindi nakarating sa inyo yun. For sure nakarating sa inyo. Kaya lang sinasabi nyo, hindi naman namin responsibilidad dyan. Yun lang po point ko. Kahit hindi po niyo responsibilidad, din sana po gumawa kayo ng way. And again, by their own initiative, ito pong sinabi sa Article 10.
Yung pong Article 10, hindi applicable yan sa DTI lang. Kung sino ang concerned agency, yun ang susunod sa Article 10.
Kaya nga po.
Hindi
Pero kasama kayo sa DTI dito.
Products.
Pero kasama po kayo sa DTI. Kasama po kayo dito.
Hindi po. Kasama kami dyan for non-food products.
Pero sir, kayo po ang nagmo-monitor sa pricing at paglalagay nito mga produkto nito
Price,
sa
tama
shelf.
po.
Di ba?
Oo, pero yung labeling, hindi po kami.
Pero sir, hindi naman kailangan sa labeling lamang. Ang sinasabi ko po paulit-ulit na kanina for the end time, on your own initiative, kapag nalaman nyo po, kahit pasabihin natin ang responsibilidad nito sa FDA, nandiyan pa rin po sa inyong responsibilidad na kayo po ay makikipag-usap sa iba't ibang kawani ng gobyerno. Di ho ba?
Kung non-food products, Mr. Senator,
Pero sir, saan po nakalagay dito non-food products? Sige nga po sa Article 10, show me.
balik tayo sa Article 6. Kung sino ang implementing agency. When it comes to food, drugs, cosmetics, devices, and substances, Department of Health ang implementing agency.
Okay.
Ang Department of Agriculture, products related to agriculture.
Okay.
Department of Trade and Industry with respect to other consumer products not specified above.
Okay. Sir, granting hindi po sa inyo, talagang umiiwas ka sir. Hindi.
Hindi ako umiiwas.
Sir, kahit maabutin tayo rito hanggang alas 5 ng hapon, I don't care. They have to refer. I-refer niyo po sa concerned agency. Ngayon, kung nakarating po sa inyo, granting na talagang hindi po kayo talaga dapat dito, i-refer niyo po, you should have the decency man lang sana para ipakita na meron kayong concern sa kapakanan ng taong bayan, refer to the proper agency. Granting na hindi talaga kayo, sige, nagbangkit ka ng Section 6 o Article 6. So sana, sir, nagsabi kayo, hey, Department of Health, Department of whoever that department is, mag-refer lang po kayo. In my case po, ako po, I've been doing, wait a minute, sir.
Well,
Ako po ay nasa public service, broadcaster po ako. May nilalapit po sa akin problema tungkol po sa kung ano man sa departamento nating gobyerno na hindi ko naman po sakop dahil ako po broadcaster. Ano pong ginagawa ko? Nire-refer ko po. Even if it's not my problem, even if not my concern as a broadcaster, I do something about it on my own initiative because meron po akong concern sa kapakanan ng taong bayan.
Nai-refer niyo po ba sa-
Kasi po kung pag-iisip ko, katulad sa pag-iisip nyo, then wala ho sana ako masusot na problema.
Excuse me,
po ba sa Department of Health?
if I can,
Ito.
Secretary, if I can just make a suggestion, perhaps the DTI can coordinate with the FDA for information disclosure on
Well,
what
if we
food
can-
contents are above. If just to, I'm very moved by the
Yes,
passion
following
of our
this
senator.
meeting, Mr. Chairman, I will refer this to the Department of Health as requested by Senator.
That's what I'm talking about. Sana kanina mo pa sinabi yan, sir. Kasi pangit po, sir, magtuturoan tayo eh. Yun po lang yun eh. I-refer nyo po. Maging concerned din po kayo. Kahit na hindi po responsibilidad nyo, like I said, ako po, broadcaster po ako. May lalapit po sa akin na problema na hindi ko naman po problema bilang isang broadcaster. Kung ano mang departamento ng ating gobyerno, nagre-refer po ako. Meron po ako makita dyan sa daan. Meron po ako makita kung ano man yung nangyayari sa kalye. What do I do? As a concerned citizen, ako po ay tumatawag sa concerned agency para sabihin, hoy, may problema ka, hoy, may problema ka, hoy, may problema ka, magtulungan kayo, magtulungan tayo. Hindi po yun, hindi ko papansinin yan kasi hindi ko naman sakop na problema ko yan. Huwag po, maging concerned tayo. Do not use that na hindi sa amin yan, therefore, wala na akong pakialam. Huwag po. Hindi po maganda pakinggan.
Yan ang ni-raise nyo, Senator Tulfo. I'll bring it up. Pero on my own, I cannot say na unhealthy yan. Ano?
Sir, mataas ang pinag-aralan nyo. I would assume na hindi ho kayo ma-appoint sa inyong posisyon kung hindi po mataas ang pinag-aralan nyo. At siguro naman po, sa tinagal-tagal nyo na po sa government service o private service, marami na ho kayo mga kaalaman, especially sa health. Siguro naman po, alam nyo po yung high sodium content sa isang food ay hazardous sa health. So siguro naman po, hindi na kayo kailangan pang sabihan.
Hindi po ako
Siguro naman po,
expert
like I said, kayo po ay nakamonitor sa social media o sa media na sinasabi ang high sodium content, nagkukos po yan ng kidney problems, diabetes at kung ano pang sakit. Siguro naman po, kayo po isang malusog na tao. Nakikita ko po, slim po kayo. Nakikita ko po, yung mga kinakain yung pagkain siguro po ay healthy. I can assume just by looking at you, just by profiling you, I can see that you're a healthy buff. You exercise, you eat good food, proper diet, good rest, and you know that, na bawal to. In your terms, bilang isang health buff, alam niyo po na high sodium content sa isang food ay bawal po sa mga katulad ninyo na isang health buff. Tama?
Mr. Senator, we'll bring it up with the proper authority.
Yan po ang gusto ko, sir. Ang pinakayo ko, sir, pasensya na po yung nagtuturoan po.
Hindi po ako nagtuturo. Ano?
Hindi po
Sinasabi
kasi
ko lang,
kanina po, sir, tinuturo
sino
niyo.
may responsibility.
Kaya nga po, hindi nga po pwedeng ganon. Dapat po, nagtutulungan ho kayo. Kung sino po yung may problema na isang agency, lalapitan niyo po on your own na may problema po tayo, magtulungan po tayo. Hindi nga namin responsibility to, pero pwede ba magtulungan tayo kasi nakikita po namin, ako po, si Secretary Pascual, isa po ang health buff. I know for a fact na high sodium content sa isang pagkain, bawal po yan, hindi po maganda. You should have done that. Di ba? Tama ba ako sa
Ngayon po
isa
na sinabi niyo, Senator Tulfo, gagawin ko. Pero nung hindi ko alam kung may hazardous health nga yung mga produkto na yan. Ano?
Yes, if I can just interject, I'd like to thank the Secretary for his commitment to coordinate with the FDA regarding the concerns of Senator Tulfo, who's very valid concerns regarding the health, and he's very passionate about this issue. So I'd really like to thank, I really appreciate your coordination with the FDA so that we can improve the situation, especially in the health. I'm sure we can all work together, the Senate, the Department of Trade and Industry, and of course the health agencies who will also give us their professional opinion. So thank you very much.
Dalawa na lamang po, Mr. Chair. And Senator Coco, I'm sorry, dalawang issue na lamang. Okay, noong 2022, is it today or this year, you're asking for 443.5 million budget for consumer protection program. Tama? So hindi ho ba kasama sa protection ng mga consumer ay maprotektahan sila na para hindi po sila magkasakit sa kidney at diabetes? Hindi ho ba dapat kasama yan? Kasi nakalagay dito, 443.5 million pesos for consumer protection program. Na for me, protection means protektahan ang mga mahirap nating kababayan na para makakain ng too much sodium sa isang pagkain na paborito ng kinakain nang sa gayon hindi sila magkasakit sa kidney, hindi sila magkasakit sa diabetes. Yun po yung para sa akin ang pagkakaintindi ko. Meron pa po, ito pa. 82.183 million consumer education and advocacy program. Meaning, education. So to educate the consumer na too much sodium in your diet is hazardous to your health. That is consumer education. 82.183 million. Ulitin ko for the end time. Consumer education and advocacy program. So you should educate the consumer about the health hazards of eating too much sodium.
May I respond, Mr. Chairman?
Proceed.
Yeah, we will take this up with the concerned agency with whom we're working when it comes to consumer protection.
Thank you. Isa na lamang po. Sige po. Tapos na po tayo rito. Ano po? Pasensya na po. I don't have anything against you guys. I don't know you. Pero trabaho lang po to. Walang personalan. Gawin po natin trabaho natin para sa kapakanan po ng taong bayan. Lalo na po sa mga mahirap nating kababayan because ang mga hirap po nating kababayan ang palaging tinatamaan, ang palaging lugi rito. Sila po talaga. Because the rich people, wala silang pakialam. Heck, they don't care about these foods kung tutuusin na hindi naman sila kumakain. Oh, ito si Coco, rich. Di ba? Hindi, ako nakakain ako nito. Quite a few times. Pag nagmamadali, totoo yun, pag nagmamadali. Pero nung malaman ko na later, na napakinggan ko po sa telebisyon, sinabi ko po ito sa programa ko Wanted sa radyo, na oy, mataas ang sodium content pala niyan, hinahinay kayo. Sana man lang sir, maglagay dito na ito ay mataas ang sodium na maaring ikadudulot ng kidney problem, pag long-term na pagkain, kidney problem, and diabetes. Para sa gayon, yung mga mahirap na kababayan, meron silang choice. Mataas pala, wag na lang akong bumili muna niyan. Pass na lang muna, iba na lang muna ang ulamin ko. Yun po yun. Gulay-gulay na lang po muna ako. Diba? Pero again, I would like to make it clear to everybody, hindi po ako against dito. Hindi po. In fact, mag-manufacture pa tayo ng napakaraming ganito dahil affordable po ito sa mga mahirap na kababayan. Ang sa akin lamang, dapat ilagay sa tama, ilagay sa lugar na para hindi po magkasakit ang mga pobre nating kababayan na sila po talaga ang nakikinabang nito. Kung mapapansin niyo po tuwing may bagyo, relief goods, ito po palagi kasama, sardinas. And again, for the last time, ang mga mahirap nating kababayan, kinakain po ito 3 times a day. Minsan 5 times a day kasi pinamimerienda pa nila. Just imagine. And they do that 30 days in a month. 365 in a year, ang iba sa kanila. Wala pa isang taon, kaya pala marami mga nagkakasakit sa kidney, diabetes. Pagkatapos, pag nagkasakit sila sa diabetes o kidney, and then pupunta sa mga health centers, yung mga gamot expired dahil pinabayaan ng DOH na mag-expire. Dudugtong-dugtungin ko lang. Gusto nyo? Hanggang alas 5 tayo rito. Kapag kapakanan po ng mga hirap ng kababayan, I know, I should know. And I must know because for the past 20 years, puro mahirap na ng kababayan pupunta po sa akin para magreklamo. I've seen them. I've felt them. I've heard them kung paano po sila naghihirap. And then tayo po mga taga-gobyerno, kasama na po kayo ngayon dyan, dapat po magsipag tayo para tingnan po natin ang kapakanan nila. Hindi lang po yung kapakanan natin at kapakanan ng ating mga padrino at kung sino man po nag-upo sa atin. Huwag po ganon. Hindi po yung mga sponsor natin. That's why we got our position because we were sponsored by whoever that Poncio Pilato is. I'm sorry. Galit lang po talaga ako. Pero salamat po at sabi niyo po, co-coordinate na kayo. Now, lastly po, doon naman po tayo sa mga networking. Marami po ang natatanggap ng mga reklamo, especially sa mga hirap na naman. Nagpapanggap po yung marami mga networking na sila po ay hindi sakop dapat ng DTI dahil sila po is SEC, investment sila. Paano naging investment yan? Kasi nga po, nagbebenta naman sila ng, hindi naman sila nagbebenta ng produkto, pero wag ka. Investment na nagbebenta sila ng produkto. They are selling products. And I'm telling you this, again, mag-investigate po kayo. Magbebenta sila ng mga produkto na yung mga produkto na yon ay 10 times more ang price kaysa doon sa actual na mga presyo ng produkto na ibinebenta po sa merkado. What did they do? Alam niyo po ang ginagawa nila? Matanong ko, may intelligence funds ko kayo? Wala. Wala, no? Okay, good. Okay lang. Ang ginagawa po nila, bibili sila ng isang produkto, halimbawa ito, binibenta po ito ng 100 pesos, kunyari, sa merkado. Ang gagawin po nila, i-repack po nila ito. Pagagandahin po nila yung packaging. And then, ibibenta nila ng 1,000 pesos. Hindi ba scam yan? In the name of, sabi, bebenta ng produkto, and then yung pala, pyramiding to, yung mga downline, upline, kung ano pang line-line ang tawag dyan. Again, panloloko po yan. Marami na pong lumalapit sa akin na naloloko. And too late na, pag sila umatras at hingi silang refund, wala na po. Naisa na po sila. Isa po yung dapat. Kasi po ang nangyari kapag nagsumbong po yung mga consumer sa DTI, usually sinasabi ng DTI, SEC po dapat yan. Kasi po investment yan. Hindi investment kasi po nagbebenta silang produkto eh. Kasi kapag investment lamang, hindi sila maging bentahe. So what they do is they use the word, ito ay product selling. Mr. Chair, magbebenta silang produkto na pagkamahal-mahal. At para ikaw ay kumita, kailangan kumuha ka ng mga downline. Thank you. So isa po siguro yung titingnan nyo na sa oras po na meron po mga networking dyan na nagbebenta po ng produkto, silipin nyo po, pag-aralan nyo, ano na bang ginagawa nito, tama bang ginagawa nito, meron na bang naloloko, and then maglagay po kayo ng hotline na pwede kayong tawagan, kapag may tumawag po, agad-agad investigate. Yun lang po sa akin. Okay, sir? And Mr. Chair, salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Senator Raffy, and I thank you for that very enlightening. Hindi ko rin alam yung sodium ko. Hindi ako masyadong familiar sa mataas na sodium content at ngayon
Kasi ikaw, healthy.
medyo
Libre ka. Diba?
hindi ko rin kumakain ako ng cup noodles pero hindi ko alam ganun pala kataas. Baka hindi na ako kakain ng ganyan. Well, ang taas pala ng sodium tapos ang isa lang ang pwede kada araw, isa lang dapat.
Tulad dito, itong isa, 1,000, saan ba ito rito? Meron dito 1,800 eh. Ito, 1,899. So, parang 1.9 na. Dapat, sabi ng mga eksperto, once a day lang sa 2,000. Yun yung threshold, 2,000. And this is 1,900 na.
So isa lang talagang pwede, otherwise.
A day. Yung mga mahirap natin kababayan, 3 times a day, may kasama pang merienda. O di, wala pang 1 taon, nasa kidney center na siya. Pipila na siya sa PGH. O dili kaya, pupunta na siya sa mga health centers natin sa barangay para sa maintenance. Tapos ngayon, yung maintenance, pinabulok lang ng DOH, pina-expire, hindi nagamit, resulta, namamatay yung mga pobre.
Magandang line of questioning, Senator, and I commend you for your concern
Thank
for
you,
the
Mr.
health.
Chair.
And I'd like to thank also the DTI for their commitment in coordinating. And pati itong multi-level, parang paulit-ulit na rin itong mga multi-level. So siguro kung may mga minsan gray area kung kung kanino po mapupunta yung mga complaints, minsan SEC. But I agree, dapat siguro in these gray areas, we should be aggressive in helping the consumers. Dahil tama rin si Senator, yung karamihan po ng mga multi-level ay may produkto at nagbebenta ng produkto. So even though SEC, you can make the case na pwede rin siya sa DTI. So siguro, again, it's a case of siguro coordination. And if I can request also, if you can request, we can coordinate with the Office of Senator Tulfo, regarding his concerns. He brought this up before, and I hope there's more coordination with the senator because he has very valid concerns, and this is his advocacy, consumer protection, and I hope we can give our commitment to assist Senator Raffy because buhay niya po ito eh. Tama yung sinabi niya, dekada na. Mga ilang dekada na po ang kanyang show at talagang gusto niya tumulong sa ating mga mahihirap na kababayan. So I hope you give more assistance and the coordination with Senator Tulfo. And thank you, sir. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Again, for the last time, I don't have anything against you. In fact, 2-3 sa inyo lumapit sa akin, nakikipagkaibigan, nagsabi pang taga Davao. It's okay. You're my friend. Totoo. Kayo po, Yusek, taga Davao, to real. Yes. And I recognize that. Thank you. Kababayan kita. Pero pagdating sa trabaho, tabla-tabla muna tayo. Now, after this, magkaibigan tayo. Magbisaya tayo, no problem. Okay? Pero pag sa trabaho, I have to do what I have to do. Sa ngalan po ng public service. Salamat po. Salamat. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
At this point, thank you, Senator Tulfo. And I just have some questions that I'd like to discuss with yes, but before that, we'd like to ask if you can already start your presentation for the hearing. So please, you may begin. Thank you. Session suspended while the DTI is preparing. Thank you.
Video for purposes of informing the public about
A session resumed.
11.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Papadala lang namin sa office ni Senator Tulfo.
Yes, thank you. I'm sure the senator will be very thankful for any for coordination. with
In-update
his office.
namin, pero it has been going on for some time.
Yes. So please, may you request the Department of Trade and Industry to proceed with their presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today we will present the priorities that comprise next year's 5.2 billion peso budget of the Department of Trade and Industry. There has been a significant reduction in DTI's budget for 2023. We are also prepared to respond to queries about this presentation. In 2023, the department will strive to sustain our country's economic growth momentum. As we recover from the negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic, we will pursue regional industrial development that would lead our MSMEs, the backbone of Philippine economy, to greater productivity and prosperity for all. To actualize this vision, DTI anchors its industrialization strategy on science, technology, and innovation. I will dwell on the matters of DTI's industrialization policy, the DTI fiscal year 2023 budget, or NEP, and the department's performance report for 2021 first semester and to first semester 2022. Although we would like to inform the committee that as far as our operations are concerned, as discussed earlier, TESDA is no longer, it's not under this department anymore. Next slide. We can now see how the pandemic transformed our lives and the way we do business over the last 2 years. The great shift has been toward digitalization, hybrid working setups, and reconfigured supply chains. At the Department of Trade and Industry, we in the Department of Trade and Industry view these structural changes as an impetus for accelerated growth and inclusive development. This means that we intend to use the new normal created by COVID-19 pandemic and the fourth industrial revolution, as well as climate change, as opportunities for economic transformation. The quest for economic transformation has also been a major theme of the President's State of the Nation address, and we are in full support of that aspiration. As the country enters the post-pandemic future, implementing an inclusive, sustainable, and resilient industrial policy is an imperative to build a more competitive economy. The industrial policy will also be a driver of our export strategy, since what we export is what we produce. The industrial policy will also be supportive of medium, small, and medium enterprises, since these enterprises are the backbone of our economy. Our new industrial strategy will be driven by science, technology, and innovation, including digital technologies, as we put our Philippine-based industries in a much better position to compete in the global and domestic markets and achieve inclusive and sustainable development. Next. Our STI-based industrial policy has 6 strategic actions, namely, embrace Industry 4.0 by adopting Industry 4.0 technologies, such as AI in transforming industries and increasing the share of STI-intensive sectors to GDP. Next, develop innovative MSMEs and startups. Through innovation, we want to upsize our MSMEs, and also we want to build robust tech startup ecosystem that would be critical in developing innovations and supporting digital transformations of small businesses. Third, integrate industry development, trade, and investments. With science, technology, and innovation at the center of our industrial strategy, we align and integrate our industry development, trade, and investment policies. This is crucial as we address gaps in supply and value chains. We are linking manufacturing with agriculture and services to integrate our production systems, deepen our global value chain participation, and expand and diversify our exports along with trade and investment partners. Fourth, promote regional development by strengthening regional innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystems. Given the economic imbalance of our regional development, we are focusing our efforts on regional industrial transformation, modernizing our agro-industrial activities through science, technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Fifth, upskill and reskill the workforce. We must build our human resource capabilities in science, technology, and innovation, and ensure that skills and competencies needed for future production are met and skills mismatches are addressed. Sixth and last, create an enabling economic environment. Finally, a competitive physical and digital infrastructure would lower the cost of doing business, and this would attract more investments. This will also include addressing issues of ease of doing business. Let me now talk about our priority industries. We have 3 priority industry clusters. First, industrial, manufacturing, and transport cluster. Second, technology, media, and telecommunications cluster. And third, health and life sciences cluster. There is a 4th cluster we call modern basic needs for resilient economy. Next slide. This slide shows our thoughts. I'll not go into the details of this, Mr. Chairman, and I will just close the presentation at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary, for that presentation. And I'd also like to invite our DTI family to have a working lunch. So you can please feel free to partake of our hopefully low sodium lunch. Pero ewan ko lang, tanongin natin yung sana low sodium po yung lunch natin. So I'd like to invite you to please, we'll have a working lunch. And thank you for that presentation. At this point, I just have a few questions. Una, interesado po ako sa suporta na binibigay po natin sa ating mga local industries. Dahil ito talaga nakakapag-generate ng trabaho para sa ating mga kababayan, lalo na po ang ating mga MSMEs. Kaya gusto ko rin po malaman kung ano po yung mga policies, mga polisiya ng mga ng DTI para bigyan suporta, para suportahan po ang ating mga local industries, especially yung mga binanggit nyo po kanina, Secretary, yung mga large-scale industries na nakakapagbigay ng trabaho sa ating mga kababayan. Sana po ito, ano po yung support na ibibigay natin sa mga local industries para makakompete sila sa mga foreign firms or maging mas masigla ang business nila. So if you can just maybe, ano po yung mga policies or
Tandaan, ang direct selling ay hindi pyramid scam. Thanks. Anyway,
briefly lang po kung ano po yung mga you can just
meron tayong manufacturing resurgence program which is being implemented to develop globally competitive manufacturing industries with strong forward and backward linkages. Itong forward and backward linkages are what will link the small businesses to the large anchor enterprises. And in the process, the small and medium enterprises become part of the supply chain and the value chain of the large enterprises. That's what we want to develop in terms of the relationship of the small businesses with the large businesses. And also related to this, the clustering of businesses so that the related businesses or industries are located geographically within close distance to each other. Now, for the small and the micro, small and medium enterprises, we have a number of programs. For example, we have the shared facilities program where we set up shared facilities that can be used by the various MSMEs in a given geographic location, let's say a region or a province. We have so far set up more than 660 such shared facilities. And then we have also set up the regional inclusive, innovative centers which provide assistance to small businesses when it comes to the technology that will support their operation. These innovation centers are normally lodged in universities in the regions. Then we have the small business corporation that provides financing to small businesses. Now, the National Development Corporation has recently put up a venture capital fund, which will provide initial or support equity capital to startups in the technology field. What we are supporting now are small businesses or startups that have the potential of exploiting the fourth industrial revolution and the digital economy. So we're providing support to these tech startups, and we have the fund for this. We're also setting up two innovation centers. One is a center for artificial intelligence research. This will support the activities of MSMEs as well as large enterprises in the application of artificial intelligence to improve their production processes and other systems within their enterprises. The other innovation center is the Industry 4.0 Pilot Factory, which will provide a venue for trying out new processes that will make use of Industry 4.0 technologies, such as robotics, AI, 5G, Internet of Things, etc. The beauty with this is before investing in equipment, they will first try the process digitally or virtually and improve feasible based on the assessment of a digital model or a virtual model, then the actual physical implementation will be carried out. So these two support facilities will also help MSMEs as well as large enterprises in the country.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to recognize Senator Pia Cayetano, who's joining us online. And I'd also like to commend Secretary Pascual and the whole DTI for recognizing the importance of our new economy and the need for us to create, to be active in in new technologies such as artificial intelligence, to supporting startups. I think that's very commendable. Secretary, how much budget was given to support these kinds of? How much budget do you have to support these initiatives for the supporting our digital and technology sectors?
Specific allocation. No specific allocation has been given. We're still working on possibly having our budget augmented to take care of these new initiatives. In any case, the two centers I mentioned, since we cannot rely on full government support, and also we want to involve the private sector, we are going to establish, and we are establishing these two centers by way of public-private partnership. So we are already in discussions with the conglomerates in our country, and we have gotten their commitment to contribute to the setting up of these centers.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary. And I'm also interested, you mentioned earlier about support to our local industries. I'm interested to know, it's come to my attention that there's certain possible advantages that foreign firms have over our local. One of which being the giving of a line of LCs to foreign, whereas locals cannot. Whereas locals are not given that same courtesy. Can you confirm this for me? The giving of letters of credit to foreign firms and not giving to the local firms.
Yes, there is one major supplier of government that would normally get the award through international competitive bidding. So in an international competitive bidding, there are, of course, foreign suppliers that will bid for the product. And there is this local supplier who will bid. And the competition is, of course, on the basis of price. But as it been the experience of this local supplier, if a foreign supplier would win, the government will issue the supplier a letter of credit so that collection of payment by the foreign suppliers could be done expeditiously. However, if the local supplier would win the contract and given the award, there is no such letter of credit that's provided to the local supplier. And given the experience of this local supplier in collecting from the government, it takes a long time. Whereas a letter of credit would make this collection expeditious.
Tama po. Actually, nakakalungkot po para sa akin na nakakakuha ng special treatment ang mga foreign firms sapagkat yung mga local firms natin ay hindi nakakakuha ng mga LCs at syempre napakalaking bagay po yung cash flow sa ating mga local businesses. Kaya gusto ko sanang tanungin po kung sino po sino po yung mga guests natin. Do we have can anyone from do we have any other like DBM or representatives from other departments who can? Wala. Wala. I hope that I would like to, of course, it's come to my attention that DBM or DF there's no representative today, but I'd also like to inquire. I'd also like to officially inquire as to why these foreign firms are given these kinds of advantages over our local firms. If anything, dapat mas malaki po ang support natin sa ating mga local manufacturers. If anything, hindi nga dapat, kung pwede nga dapat medyo nakakalamang yung mga local firms natin sa mga foreign firms dahil sila talaga ang naka-base dito, sila talaga ang nakakapagbigay ng trabaho sa ating mga kababayan. At syempre kung gusto po natin mag-export, kailangan pa natin suportahan. So ito malit na bagay lang po, yung letter of credit. So sana po, sana po ma-extend po ang ganitong klaseng courtesy or benefits sa ating mga local producers. So if I can, we will write the DBM at the DOF and we'll see if we can get an answer as to why this is happening. And hopefully they can commit to us that they will give the same support to our local manufacturers. So thank you, sir, for bringing this to our attention.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'm glad to hear that you will provide this support.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to recognize Senator Pia Cayetano for her questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone, Mr. Chairman, to our colleagues online, and to the DTI Secretary and the DTI team. I actually have a few topics that I'd like to cover, but I'm a bit pressed for time. So depending on how long this hearing will last, I will have to just discuss one or two concerns and then come back later or take it up on the floor for my other questions. First question, very simple lang naman. Given that your mandate, Mr. Secretary, is promotion of trade and industry, has DTI ever gotten involved in the issue that most BPOs face on the drop in the proficiency of the English language? I think all of us would know, no, na when the secretary is a former president of UP. It's all over the news that our proficiency in the English language has dropped. There's a hearing going on in another hearing room right now on the use of mother tongue, and we brought up the statistics on how every year the dates I have were 2013 to 2020, and our proficiency dropped every year. So that's just my question. Has DTI been involved in any way on this issue?
If I understand the question correctly, Senator, you're asking about English proficiency?
I will repeat my question. Has DTI been involved in any way on the issue of English proficiency, given that it is a big factor in job creation or employment? And my understanding is since the mandate of DTI is to promote business, it's a big factor. The English proficiency of our people is a big factor. So that's my question. Because you hear businesses talking about it all the time. I'm sure His Honor has dealt with BPOs, and they have expressed their concern na ang hirap ng makakuha ng personnel who have proficiency in English.
English proficiency, wala tayong
I don't
Anyway,
think
since hindi naka-off yung mic ng staff nyo, narinig ko na yung sagot na wala tayong ganyan. So may I just know from the Secretary then, is if he agrees that it is a concern that the DTI can look into, can help, if it will help promote more businesses, if this is in fact a valid concern of a lot of businesses in the country.
Well, Madam Senator, we're doing our part in terms of getting our Department of Education, be conscious about this. And in fact, in one of our cabinet meetings, there was already a statement that we will enhance again the teaching of English in our schools. From our own experience in DTI, the value proposition of the Philippines is it's in having a large number of young people and our ability to speak in English. But our own observation is that the quality of the proficiency of our young people with respect to the English language has been on the decline. And will really need to be attended to by our educational system. So we will, what we're doing, if you ask us what we're doing, we are reminding and alerting our educational institutions of the expectations of investors with respect to the English proficiency of our workers. That's our advantage, and we need to make full use and really develop that advantage further.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That answer, Mr. Secretary, is satisfactory to me. Yeah, you're right. It is mostly with it. I just wanted to be sure that DTI recognizes the issue, that you have heard the same sentiments from the business sector. And as I said, your answer is sufficient for me. Thank you. I'll go on to another topic, Your Honor. This is on the implementation of RA number 11900. This is the short title nito is the Vaporized Nicotine and Non-Nicotine Products Regulation Acts, or the e-cig and vape law. I understand because I chair the budget hearings of DOH that DTI has gotten in touch with them on the formulation of the rules and regulation. You can I'll just throw you a couple of questions and you can respond in one go. I also monitored earlier the questions of our colleague Senator Tulfo on his concern on the instant noodles. So may I know from the Secretary how they intend to handle the e-cigs and vapes, considering that it is a harmful product and DTI is now tasked under the law to be in charge of the registration of these harmful products. I won't. I'll let you answer from there, Your Honors. Your Honor, Mr. Secretary.
The draft of the implementing rules and regulation of the law has been completed, and it's ready for circulation to concerned agencies and public consultation.
Okay, but may I know specifically, Mr. Secretary, how you intend to handle a similar question?
Some process will make it mandatory, sir,
Mm.
for
Sandali, hindi pa tapos yung question ko at naririnig ko na yung sagot ng staff nyo na bumubulong sa inyo. Sorry, can I just finish my question? I'm asking how you intend to ensure, given that this is a unhealthy product, that it poses its own set of health exposures to people who will use it. How do you intend to somehow make it as, I don't know, how do you intend to roll this out? Because the registration and everything that has to do with the safety component is in the hands of DTI.
Under the law and under the IRR, all products that will fall into this category will undergo certification. And
How do you intend to do the certification, Mr. President, Mr. Secretary? That's my question. How will you do that? What kind of certification? How does one get certified? How does an e-cigarette product get certified?
well, we are coordinating with the other agencies, of course, the FDA, and there will be a testing protocol that will be established.
Okay, may I ask how the testing protocol will be established? Will you handle that, or will you let FDA handle that?
Well, as I mentioned, if we don't have the competence, we will have to rely on other agencies to provide us.
So are you saying
inputs.
that are you now saying that when it comes to the testing of vapes and e-cigs, you will rely on FDA
no,
for the
sir.
testing of
On
these products?
the devices, we have the expert.
I don't mind, Mr. Secretary. Do you want your whoever's sitting beside you to answer? I don't mind. If she's the expert, I don't mind. Kasi ganun din. Siya din naman
I'll give you
sumasagot.
the one directly in charge of this, Yusek Ruth Castello.
Yes, sir.
Hello,
Thank
Yusek
you.
Ruth.
Oh, hi, Senator Pia. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. Ma'am, the Bureau of Philippine Standards has the capacity to test the products, the nicotine devices that will be imported to the Philippines or manufactured locally. We have a testing laboratory under the Bureau of Philippine Standards. We also already have the testing equipment that we have purchased as soon as this was being discussed in the House of Representatives and the Senate, ma'am.
And so you're referring to the nicotine devices. So what about the flavors or the refill?
Also, all consumables, if there are no issues on health, will fall under the DTI as well. And we will also have to prepare for testing equipment and other capabilities, of course, the expertise that will be used for the products. The implementing rules and regulations are already circulated, and we already have coordinated with the Food and Drug Authority. The public consultation is scheduled this week, ma'am, on Wednesday, including private stakeholders.
Secretary, I'd like you to answer this question directly. Yusek Ruth mentioned that in her first statement, she referred to PPI's ability to handle the nicotine devices. And then upon my further inquiry, her response, when I asked how about the refills or the flavors, and her response is PPI will also handle that if there are no health issues. How would you know that there are no health issues? They have to be tested for you to determine if there are health issues. So how do you make that preliminary distinction for you to determine that you will handle it? How can you even say if there are no health issues? And this product is by itself a health product as defined by the FDA law, which may affect health.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I corrected. If there are no health claims on the product, the testing will fall under the DTI. If there are health claims on the product themselves, it's the FDA that will do the certification and testing, ma'am.
From my understanding, and I said I'd like the secretary to answer this, all flavors have health claims. They use hundreds, dozens of flavors in there. Each and every one has to be dissected to determine if there are any health issues in the ingredient itself or in the combination of the use of ingredients. So how will you make the preliminary determination when you're saying that if there are no health claims, kayo mag-handle? So how do you make those initial health claims? How will you determine that without going to FDA first?
Health issues or health claims will have to be addressed in consultation with FDA.
So are you saying, Your Honor, all flavors will pass through FDA now?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that will be the case.
Oh, well, it matters to me how it concerns you because you're the secretary. So if you will say that it will pass through FDA, then I will be very happy with that answer.
This was in the IRRs.
Right.
So
Well, the IRR will draw the line, as to which aspect. If there is any health claim, then definitely we'll have to consult with the FDA.
Mr. Secretary, are you aware that in the US, 50,000 flavors, I will repeat, 50,000 flavors were rejected by the US FDA because they did not comply with the health standards. They could not prove that they would not be detrimental to health. Are you aware of that, Mr. Secretary? And if you're not, it's okay. I mean, I don't know how much you follow this vape issue. I just want to know if you're aware of that or not.
50,000
No, I'm not aware that there are 50,000 flavors.
Yeah, I will ask my team to show it on the slide to show it the slide now. There's a lot of articles. I have your phone number, Mr. Secretary. I will also send you those articles showing that 50,000 flavors. And this is like 6 months ago or maybe even a year ago na. Almost a year ago, 50,000 flavors. Siguro ngayon nadagdagan pa kasi at that time, 50,000 flavors in the US. Na ganun nakataas yung standard. So, given that let's assume, I assume you can trust that what I'm saying is accurate because I have articles that I will show you any minute that my staff can put it show it in public now. But I've showed it repeatedly many times. I would think Yusek Ruth is familiar with that, no? Yusek Ruth, familiar ka?
Yes, ma'am.
Oo, so 50,000 flavors. Ikaw na rin lang naman ang sumasagot ng mga tanong. And this is FDA. So do I assume that DTI recognizes this issue and will therefore, as the Secretary said, work with FDA and allow FDA to scrutinize these products to ensure that the Filipino people are not bombarded with these kind of flavors that will be extremely harmful to health? Can I expect that based on the answer of the Secretary?
Yes.
I will read to you, Madam Senator, the provision in the IRR. Other products intended to be used as substitutes for cigarettes in whatever form, which are not made partially or wholly of tobacco leaf as raw material and do not contain nicotine from tobacco, when not in aerosol form, shall be covered by the rules and regulations of the FDA.
And when you say they will be covered by the rules and regulations, so therefore sila na yung magte-test and sila na yung magsicertify. Kasi there may be general rules and regulations, but if it's another body that will be testing it, then those rules and regulations may not be followed.
The standards for testing will have to be set in coordination with FDA. With respect to those items, as mentioned in the paragraph I read, are concerned.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, well, anyway, let me just show you this thing that I'm pointing out. No? Hindi, mali pa pala yung sinabi ko, 50,000. 55,000 flavors were banned by the US FDA. So anyway, you already gave me a reply that's quite satisfactory to me, that you will rely on the FDA for the rules and regulations, and you will also rely on them for the testing. Tama ba yung sinagot nyo? Ay, tama ba rinig ko dito sa last statement nyo? You will rely on them for what was that?
We will coordinate with the FDA on the standards to be followed for the testing.
Okay, so such that you are assuring me that the highest standards that will be available to mankind will be ensured by TTI in the testing of these products that we are going to make available to the Filipino people as young as 18 years old.
Surely, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I'm satisfied with that answer for now, Mr. Chairman. As I said, I have other questions. If I have time to catch you again later, I will do so. But if not, thank you for the responses of the DTI Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Cayetano. At this point, I'd like to recognize Senator De La Rosa, who's online, who's joining us online. Senator, do you have any questions? Okay. At this point, I'd just like to, right now, the Assistant Director for the DBM is here, Cecilia Bogado. I'd just like to ask if she can comment on what we talked about earlier regarding the letter of credit to foreigners and not extending that same courtesy to our local manufacturers. Are you here? Wala ba siya?
Yes.
Can we ask for your comment regarding this practice? I think you're nakamute. I think nakamute, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry po. Yes, Mr. Chair, Your Honors. Yes. The DBM po as an oversight agency is not privy to such transactions as to the choice of which company will be granted such contracts po.
What we were talking about was the extension of a letter of credit for the prompt payment of the. Because the foreign firms are given a letter of credit which allows them to receive payment immediately upon award. If I correct me if I'm wrong, upon awarding, whereas local firms are not extended that same letter of credit, and therefore payments are longer. They take a longer time to process. So we just like to know if this why shouldn't the local firms be given the same courtesy, if not more, than foreign firms?
Yes, as regards the payments, the DBM is actually not privy to such transactions. Actually, payments are already undertaken by the agency same as on the choice of which company po they will execute contracts with as regards implementation of projects.
So who is the relevant agency here, DOF or?
Maybe the agency can shed some light on how they choose.
Because I assume the DBM is regarding payment. So I assume it's the Department of Budget who's active, who would be in the most in the best position to answer questions regarding payment methodologies.
Yes po. Actually po, the DBM only releases obligational authorities and disbursement authorities. And when we say obligational authorities, this includes, of course, the GARO and the SARO, aside from the JAS allotment order. And for disbursement authorities, we only release NCA,
Yeah.
the notice of cash allocation to the government servicing banks with the accompanying advice to the agencies and some other disbursement authorities such as the PRA or the NCAA, CDC. But the actual payments or the disbursements are actually undertaken by the agencies.
Secretary, would you like to
Yeah,
comment?
I have additional information with regard to this issue, Mr. Chair. GPBB, which is an attached agency of DBM, has issued Circular 05-2019, which allows the use of LCs for foreign suppliers only.
Yeah, so it goes back to my question: why only foreign suppliers? Why can we not authorize the GPBB? Why can it not authorize for also local firms? Anyway, I suppose we can ask the DBM to submit a reply on this issue, which is and I'd like to direct the committee secretary to ask for an immediate response from the DBM as to whether or not they can extend the same courtesy to our local industries. I think that's very important. Kailangan talaga natin bigyan ng preferential treatment ang ating mga local industries. Dahil katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, sila talaga yung nakakapag-generate ng maraming trabaho para sa ating mga kababayan. Kaya sana po, bigyan natin ng preferential treatment ang ating mga lokal na industriya.
Yes po.
Maraming
Mr.
salamat po.
Chair, Your Honors, maybe we can ask the Executive Director of the GPPBTSO po to reply to that po, since we're only handling the DTI
Yes.
as a bureau.
Is he here? Is he here? No. Well, seeing as how he's not here, I direct the committee secretary to ask to please get an immediate response from the GPPB on the concerns that were discussed in this session. Thank you. At this point, I'd like to wait. Yes, I think Senator Coco will just has a few questions. If we can just give him some time, but I'd like to thank Senator Pia Cayetano for her questions relating to the health concerns and certain products. My message to you, Senator Pia and Senator Tulfo, is rest assured that this representation as the chairman of Trade, Commerce, and Entrepreneurship will hear immediately bills relating to consumers' health that may be referred to this committee. I support Senator Tulfo's advocacy, and I will file a bill in relation to nutritional disclosure. I believe that health is paramount, and it's very important to us. And of course, I hope also with the passage of the creative industry law, I hope that we can also push for these. Earlier, we talked about this shared facilities that can be used for the creative industry. I hope we can push this in the national budget, and I would like to reiterate my support to the creative industries. I feel that napakalaki po ang potential ng creative industry at katulad ng ibang bansa, kaya po natin makipag-compete sa um, ibang bansa katulad ng Korea na nagiging international na po ang kanilang creative industry. And of course, in other ways, creating content. We see now that there's a lot of platforms for content, and I think creative media content creation is somewhere that we can compete internationally. So I hope that with the new law, we can further push this, and we will support you in getting budget for the Creative Industry Act. Session suspended. I have a question. I'd like to ask what is the program of the Bureau of Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprise Development for the 5% of the Cocoa Farmers and Industry Development Fund, which amounts to 250 million for the 2022-2023, and this is for the small coconut farmers. Can someone answer that, please?
Mr. Chairman, I'll ask
Yes,
Yusek
please.
Lantayona to respond to that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, Secretary. The program that is being given to the Department of Trade and Industry as far as the Cocoa Levy Fund is concerned is actually on market research and promotion. So all of our programs from the regional offices and the national offices, the bureaus of the Department of Trade and Industry are really focused on market promotion, market research and promotion, Mr. Chair.
Yes, can we please ask to submit a report on the specifics about these promotional campaigns for this
Yes.
for these products related to cocoa farming? This
Yes, Mr. Chair. The PCA has identified 7 national industry cluster related to coconut, and we revolve around those 7 industry clusters. And as I've said, our regional and provincial offices, they also have programs on market promotion and research. We will submit, Mr. Chair.
yes, please submit a briefer on this as soon as possible. Thank you
Yes,
very
Mr.
much.
Chair.
Session suspended. Session resumed. I'd like to thank my fellow senators who joined and participated in this meaningful discussion of the DTI budget. Your inputs and expertise are valuable in ensuring that their budget is responsive to the programs of the administration. Maraming salamat po. As the Senate Committee on Trade Chair, we will ensure that the budgets of the DTI and its attached agencies are sufficient in order to effectively implement their priority programs. It is my hope that the DTI and its attached agencies will achieve its goals and programs as we begin this new administration. Without any additional questions, comments, or clarifications, the budgets of the Department of Trade and Industry and its attached agencies are hereby approved at the committee level and deemed submitted to the plenary, taking into consideration the discussions today. I would also like to convey my gratitude to the DTI officials and your respective staff, as well as to the officials of the attached agencies and the respective staff for the well-prepared budget presentations. I would also like to thank all the employees of the Senate and the senatorial staff here today who made this hearing possible and smooth. The Committee on Finance staff, the Subcommittee M team, the LBRMO, the OSAA, and the senatorial staff present, among others. Let's suspend the hearing for 10 minutes to give time for the DTI to pack up and for the next agency to come in and make the necessary preparations for the next hearing. Thank you very much, and this hearing is hereby suspended. Congratulations. Thank you to my colleagues who are with us during this briefing. Let me acknowledge the presence of the following senators. Attending virtually, we have Senator Bongo and Senator Bato de la Rosa. Comsec, please acknowledge our resource persons from the BCDA.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the Basis Conversion Development Authority, we have the PCEO, Ms. Eileen Ann Soza, OIC EVP, Gisela Calalo. SVP, we have Ms. Hedda Rolona and Mr. Aray Perez, led by the Chairman, Honorable Delphine Lorenzana. Good morning. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Comsec. Good afternoon, BCD officials. Welcome to the Senate. Chairman Delphine Lorenzana, President Eileen Sosa, and the BCDA family. BCDA is very close to my heart because you were our partners in the last administration with the DPWH in completing a lot of programs under the Build. Especially supporting our personnel during the COVID-19 crisis in the construction of facilities. So again, it's a pleasure to be here, to be the one to support you in your budget. Before we give the floor to our BCDA resource persons, may I ask my colleagues present if they have any opening statements. Please proceed, Senator De La Rosa.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I don't have any opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Senator. Seeing as how there are no opening statements, I'd like to. May I now call on the BCDA to present details of your budget and what are the programs that we can expect from the BCDA in creating economic opportunities in our country. So please proceed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the Finance Subcommittee of the Senate of the Philippines. Thank you for this opportunity to present the 2023 BCDA proposed budget. Can I have the presentation, please? Wait. Next slide, please. Mr. Chairman, I want to start with the 2022 General Appropriations Act approved budget of BCDA. The approved budget of BCDA was 2.487 billion pesos. This amount was a result of a 4 billion peso budget cut for that year. This time, Mr. Chairman, for the 2023 budget proposal of BCDA, we proposed 10.297 billion pesos. But under the 2023 National Expenditure Program, the DBM included 3.184 billion pesos. Note that more than 75% of the budget proposal of BCDA was on military replication projects, those facilities that BCDA will construct and improve. Those facilities were affected by BCDA projects and the road projects for the development of New Clark City. The rest of the 10.297 billion proposal was on the improvement of the Clark Airport as well as the sports facilities in New Clark City. Next slide, please. Mr. Chairman, BCDA has a high absorptive capacity as far as GAA-funded projects are concerned. Note that in 2022, for example, the SARO issued by the Department of Budget and Management at 2.487 billion pesos, 2.419 billion pesos was already obligated by BCDA, meaning BCDA executed and signed the contracts for these projects after bidding it out under RA 9184. Further, Mr. Chairman, the notice of cash allocation received by BCDA in 2022 was at 5.076 billion. As of September 15, 2022, the NCA, which was utilized by BCDA for these GAA-funded projects, amounted already to 5.055 billion, leaving an NCA balance of only 21 million. And the year has not ended yet, Mr. Chairman. Next slide, please. Okay. Following are the major accomplishments of BCDA. The new passenger terminal building of the Clark International Airport was opened and, in fact, inaugurated by no less than President Marcos. Next slide, please. Okay. BCDA has tapped into the General Appropriations Act to improve the facilities of the Clark Airport. In fact, BCDA, through the Clark International Airport Corporation, has completed the upgrading of the airfield ground lighting system to the tune of 512 million. Ongoing are the supply and installation of the surveillance radar, amounting to 593 million pesos, and also ongoing is the design and construction of the air traffic control tower. We will be requesting budget for the communication equipment for the air traffic control tower in Clark International Airport. And to anticipate the growing passenger volume in Clark International Airport, BCDA will be bidding out the detailed architectural and engineering design of the second runway of Clark Airport. Next slide, please. With respect to the development of the New Clark City, Mr. Chairman, BCDA has completed the New Clark City to Subic Clark Tarlac Expressway Access Road. This is a 12-kilometer access road with 2 interchanges and 1 toll plaza. Next slide, please. Next year, Mr. Chairman, BCDA will be finishing the airport to New Clark City access road. Actually, the first phase of this, which is around 5.33 kilometers, is already 100% complete. The second phase is already almost 75% complete, and the third phase is almost 50% complete, for a total of 8.4 billion pesos GAA-funded airport to New Clark City access road. This is a direct link from New Clark City to Clark International Airport, and from New Clark City, you will be arriving at the Clark International Airport in less than 15 minutes. Next slide, please. We are doing another spine road in New Clark City. This is the connecting road from industrial area to a 5-hectare parcel, which we allotted for the Virology Institute of the Philippines. And part of this project is a road that will enhance the accessibility of the BSP, or the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas complex, where they will be starting construction next year. Next slide, please. As far as the improvement of military facilities are concerned, Mr. Chairman, BCDA is relocating and replicating the Philippine Marine Corps headquarters and its ancillary facilities to a 100-hectare portion in the Bataan Technology Park in Morong, Bataan. This is also a BCDA property, Mr. Chairman. As you can see, we are starting with the access roads, the road networks, the utilities in the Bataan Technology Park. Actually, Mr. Chairman, the budget requirement for the relocation and replication of the Philippine Marines from Fort Bonifacio to Bataan Technology Park will reach around 28 billion pesos. But BCDA has started with phase 1, which is 7.5 billion pesos. Next slide, please. So these are ongoing construction, Mr. Chairman, of primarily the Philippine Marine Corps Headquarters Office, the quarters, the offices, the warehouse, the armories, the church, the mortuary, the parade grounds, and the quarters and the mess hall. So these are around, actually, Mr. Chairman, 213 facilities of the Philippine Marine Corps and its ancillary facilities. Next slide, please. Okay. So for the Philippine Navy, which is also in Bonifacio, and we will be relocating them to a lot just across the road, which we call the 25-hectare BNS Lot 1. So actually, the total project cost for the relocation and replication is around 12.6 billion pesos. BCDA has started to relocate the facilities that will be affected by this relocation of the Philippine Navy just across the road. So we have tapped 1.5 billion pesos for the relocation and replication of those facilities that will be affected by the relocation site of the Philippine Navy. Next slide, please. But Mr. Chairman, we have already started the bidding, and I think we will be awarding the contract for the construction of the senior officers' quarters of the Philippine Navy. This facility will be for those who have been affected by the construction of the new Senate building. Next slide, please. Okay. Mr. Chairman, our requested action is the approval of the budget proposal of VCDA under the National Expenditure Program of 3.184 billion pesos. But we earnestly seek the support and the assistance of the subcommittee for the additional request of 3.973 billion. Mr. Chairman, this is really just to augment the budget for the military replication and for the road projects in the New Clark City. New Clark City is a 9,450 hectare development, and this is one of the flagship projects of the government. So, Mr. Chairman, in total, we are seeking approval of around 7.157 billion pesos for the BCDA budget in 2023.
Thank you very much. I just have a few questions. Is regarding the Virology Institute? I understand that it's also one of the priorities given the COVID-19 pandemic. Is there a budget for the Virology Institute already included in the 2023 GAA or NEP? Sorry, NEP.
Mr. Chairman, what BCDA's role is in the Virology Institute is just to allocate a 5-hectare portion of New Clark City in for the Virology Institute.
But are you aware if there has been an actual budget given to the Virology Institute?
We don't know, but we understand that the Department of Public Works and Highways will be the one constructing the structure.
Okay. And regarding these replication projects, I suppose when of course when you move out of an area, usually there is a corresponding income that will be generated from the development of that area. For instance, with I suppose whatever I suppose I just want to ask if the computation you make for the military replication, the costs are far exceeded by the revenues that will be generated from the development of the area that they're vacating.
Chairman, the Philippine Navy headquarters, Philippine Navy and the Philippine Marine headquarters are in a property which was sold, which was a subject of a joint venture with SM Prime Holdings. So far, SM Prime had remitted to us 18 billion pesos out of
How
30
much?
18 billion,
18 billion.
pesos
Okay, okay.
out of the 30 billion pesos minimum annual secured revenue share of BCDA. So, Mr. Chairman, the military replication projects had an original budget of 7.9 billion from the proceeds of Fort Bonifacio. Unfortunately, there were delays in the relocation and replication of these facilities so that the costs have escalated. But overall, the revenues generated by BCDA is really actually greater than the relocation and replication costs. It's just that the 7.9 billion and were remitted to the National Treasury, Mr. Chairman, and we were not able to access these funds. So we're actually getting General Appropriations Act
Yes.
funds to augment this relocation budget and replication budget.
Yes. But I guess I just want to ask, is that part of your computation when you decide
Yes.
on a joint venture that,
Yes.
of course, all these costs are already taken into account, and then ultimately it will, ultimately the goal is to get the most benefit financially from
Certainly, Mr.
for
Chair.
government. Yes. Yes. I see. We have other senators. If there's any questions, I think we have Senator. Can we ask if Senator De La Rosa or Senator Go have any questions?
Yes, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
Senator De La Rosa, please, you have the floor.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I just would like to ask from Bcda who identifies these projects under military replication projects.
Mr. Chairman, the BCDA coordinates closely with the Department of National Defense and the AFP, as well as the Philippine Army, Philippine Navy, and Philippine Air Force for the replication projects, Mr. Chairman. In fact, we have mechanisms by which we coordinate and we identify these projects. First of all, DND and BCDA closely coordinate with the senior leaders of the Department of National Defense and the AFP. And of course, when Chairman Lorenzana was the Secretary of National Defense, BCDA leadership coordinated closely with him. In another level, there is a DND AFP BCDA Joint Technical Working Group, and this group is also a composite group of DND AFP BCDA, and we consult the design, we consult with them the design and the cost of the relocation and replication projects. Under the DND AFP BCDA Joint Technical Working Group are the Joint Technical Working Teams for the three major service commands: the Philippine Army, the Philippine Navy, and the Philippine Air Force. So we do not construct or even start replication projects without the approval of the DND AFP. And in fact, for each replication project, we have a memorandum of agreement that is signed by DND AFP and BCDA regarding the cost, regarding the designs, regarding the timeline for these replication projects.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that, Mr. Chairman. My point lang is that since hihingi na lang naman kayo ng budget sa national government to fund this replication projects, hindi ba mas sound fiscal management kapag yung pera na yan hindi dadaan sa BCDA? Diretso na lang sa Marines, sila na mag-implement. Diretso na lang sa Air Force kung sila mag-implement. Kasi para bang they're the end users. Itong Marines, itong Air Force or whatever units ng AFP na gagawan nyo ng replication projects. Hindi ba mas maganda kung sila na lang mag-implement itong mga project na ito?
Mr. Chairman, to answer the question, and I thank Senator Bato for answering, giving the question. We have done that before, Mr. Chairman, and just referring to what I mentioned before, earlier, is that there were some delays in the relocation and replication of the military facilities. So, BCDA.
What caused the delay? What caused the delay?
The delays, Mr. Chairman, is well, number one, in accessing the funds, because BCDA remits the cash for these relocation and replication projects, and this is subject to the programming of the Department of Budget and Management and the Department of Finance. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, there were some concerns regarding the relocation and displacement of officers and personnel of the AFP. And in the relocation, in identifying relocation sites. Actually, that is one of the biggest delay, cause of the biggest delay is the identification of relocation sites, because the AFP and the DND will have to decide on how to reorder or reshuffle all these military facilities.
Yeah, ang sa akin lang, Mr. Chairman, is that mas simple sana, mas simple ang takbo ng pera ng gobyerno kapag wala na maraming dadaanan ba? Direkta na lang doon sa end user, sila mag-implement. Anyway, kayang-kaya naman nila yung i-implement eh. Meron naman sila sariling bids and awards committee. Ang akin lang is, why does it take, alam ko nasa mandate ninyo yan, sa batas ng BCDA law, na you will do this, you will do that. Pero sa akin lang is to simplify matters, mas maganda siguro kung sila na, yung end user na lang ang mag-implement ng project nila na yan at kapag pumalpak man yan, sila na diretso ang magsisisi dahil sila ang end user. Kasi kung dadaan pa sa BCDA, pag pumalpak yan, sabihin naman ng Marines na, ay, hindi man kami nag-implement yan, sir. BCDA man. Tapos pag BCDA ang tanungin mo, ay sir, that's according to the specs na binigay ng Marines sa amin kasi closely coordinated kami. So dapat kung para wala na sisihan, anyway, isang pondo lang naman ng gobyerno yan, hingin natin yung pera galing sa national government, din ipasa doon sa implementing agency dapat, yung sila mismo, yung end user, mas maganda pa siguro para uh, alam mo na, alam mo na yung mga mas maraming madadaanan na ahensya, mas maraming pwedeng mawawala, masasayang na pera. That's just a simple thinking ko lang yan, Mr. Chair. Anyway, very efficient naman itong mga tao na ito, itong mga ahensya na ito na mag-implement. Meron naman silang sariling Bids and Awards Committee. Why does it take another agency to perform this act na kaya namang gawin ng Philippine Marines for that matter, paggawa ng kampo? So, ako lang, just to simplify matters, ma'am, I'm not suspecting anything. Ako gusto ko lang ma-simplify. Yun lang, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that suggestion, Senator De La Rosa. Do you have any further questions, Senator?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, another question is, I received from Senate LBRMO a document containing the breakdown of shares of beneficiary agencies from your asset disposition efforts. You have here a column of non-military camps with a total of 1.059 billion. Are these proceeds from sale of non-military camps? If yes, what are those non-military camps, ma'am?
Mr. Chairman, these are proceeds from the sale of
Fort Manufacturing 150. Is 150 hectares.
yung non-military camps. Okay, this is from the sale of PMMA and National Defense College of the Philippines. So this is the 150 million pesos sales proceeds. This was early 1990s, Mr. Chairman.
Plus yung DPWS right of way sa Kampatin.
And these are proceeds also from the payments by the Department of Public Works and Highways for the right-of-way acquisition for Camps Melchor and Atienza.
Thank you, ma'am. Does this include your revenues from the joint venture with Mega World Corporation to privatize and develop JUSMAG, yung Joint U.S. Military Assistance Group property in Fort Bonifacio? Kasama ba ito sa doon sa non-military camps?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Actually, the joint venture proceeds with Mega World for JUSMAG are part of the military camp sales proceeds. So this is not non-military camps, but revenues generated from Fort Bonifacio and Villamor, which are military camps.
Thank you po. In your gross disposition proceeds, 44% or 56.4 billion is considered AFP share. Did the AFP directly receive this amount and used for AFP modernization? Or does this include funding from your military replication projects?
The 56.4 billion pesos share of the AFP from the Asset Disposition Program of BCDA consists of
AFP, 45 million.
45 million remitted to the Bureau of Treasury and 11.1 billion replication cost of the facilities of the military affected by BCDA projects. So there are two accounts, Mr. Chairman, in summary. The AFP modernization share and the replication cost of military facilities affected by the asset disposition program.
Maraming salamat, ma'am. Maraming salamat. Mr. Chairman, that's all for me. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chairman. And
Thank you, Sen.
regards kay Secretary Del Pino Lorenzana. Sir, mayong hapon.
Mayong hapon po.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator De La Rosa. Senator, I believe we're joined by Senator Go. Does Senator Go have any questions? I just have a quick question regarding these the joint ventures. Is it in the form of a unsolicited, or is it in the form of a solicited proposal when you develop these properties?
All were solicited proposals except the unsolicited proposal of SM Prime Holdings Incorporated for the 33.5-hectare portion in the along Lawton Avenue, and one unsolicited proposal is the North Bonifacio joint venture with Mega World Properties way back in 2009.
So it's both unsolicited and solicited.
All solicited except those two, Mr. Chairman.
And all of these go through, of course, go through the regular procedure regarding the NEDA. Goes through these unsolicited. They also go through NEDA, or are they strictly within the
Mr. Chairman, for the unsolicited proposal on JVs of Fort Bonifacio and Villamor, BCDA has its own JV and lease guidelines. So under the RA 7227, BCDA is authorized to formulate and apply their own JV guidelines and lease guidelines and sale guidelines. So this did not go through NEDA, but the reporting of these joint venture projects, and as well as the disposition proceeds arising from these joint venture projects are monitored by the Department of Finance, the Department of Budget and Management, and the Department of National Defense.
Okay, so to clarify, they do not require NEDA approval
They
before.
go through NEDA.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And I'd just like to also ask regarding the use of some of our base properties. I know we have a lot of, in other camps, extensive properties. How do we have a program also in creation of, I mean, is there a committee, or is there a group that looks at the existing and maybe sees how we can utilize it for common areas, open spaces, parks, that sort of infrastructure? Is there any plans within the BCDA to maybe create such infrastructures also, aside from the private partnerships?
Chairman, BCDA has been looking at non-traditional areas of revenue generation, especially for utilities, for example, charging user fees for the right-of-way use of the utilities. And with respect to the Metro Manila camps, Fort Bonifacio and Villamor, BCDA formulated master development plans where we put in all the mixed use, the institutional areas. We planned this just like in the New Clark City. So there are revenues that will be generated by these parks, also by these roadways, and usually right-of-way user charges for this. And with respect to other properties, Mr. Chairman, for example, other military camps, it's really DND who actually tell us and give us the parameters for the development of these relocation projects.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there? Can I ask if the other senators, if there are any other questions? I understand that Senator Padilla will has a few questions. If we can give him a few minutes. Session suspended. Session resumed. At this point, I'd like to recognize Senator Robin Hood Padilla.
Magandang hapon po. Patanghali po sa ating mahal na tagapangulo. Batch ko to eh. Sir, ang atin pong ginagalang at iniidolo Mark Villar, Senador, mabuhay po. Isa pong malaking kaligayahan nang makita ko po ang aking commander, Secretary Lorenzana, mabuhay po. Meron lang po akong mga konting katanungan. Opo. Kasi po, patungkol po ito sa... Ako po kasi ay taga Baguio. Ako po ay Carino. Kaya meron pong kinalaman sa Camp John Hay ang tanong ko. Ito po ay kinikilala po namin na ito po ay parte ng aming ancestral domain. At hanggang ngayon po ay hindi pa po namin talaga alam, batid, kung ano po ang kinabukasan namin sa usapin sa Baguio, doon po sa Camp John Hay. Baka po sakaling mabigyan niyo po kami ng update kung paano po ang nangyari na sa Camp John Hay.
Thank you for the question. Camp Janhi is a very challenging property, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Senator. This Camp Janhi covers 625 hectares of land, and RA 7227 transferred the ownership of Camp Janhi to Bcda. So our Bible is RA 7227, though we are aware that there are CADTs and CALTs that have been issued for this for certain portions of the Camp Janhay property. So, Mr. Chairman, we actually really defend our ownership rights in Camp Janhay because that is the mandate of RA 7227 on BCDA. So right now, there are some cases filed by BCDA for the reversion of land and titles for those portions of Camp Janhay that have been titled under CADTs and CALTs. I think our OIC EVP, who is the head of our legal department, can shed more light on this.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Senator. So as earlier mentioned by our PCEO, there are cases filed for the reversion of titles against those who have were able to get titles for a portion of the property of Kam Chanhae. So I think it was also mentioned by our PCEO that we are defending our right as owner of Kam Chanhae by virtue of RA 7227. So we leave the since these cases are already filed in courts, so Mr. Senator, we leave it to the court to decide on whoever is the rightful owner of the property. But of course, as owner of the property, again by virtue of 7227, we have the responsibility to protect the rights of BCDA, being the owner of this property by virtue of RA 7227.
Opo, yun naman pong patungkol po dun sa mandato ng BCDA. Wala naman po tayong ano dun eh. Ang kasi pagkabatas na po yan pinag-usapan natin, meron din naman ancestral law na tinatawag. Ano? So, dalawang batas na ngayon yung nagsasalpukan. So, ang gusto lang po namin malaman, kaming mga ibaloy, ay meron po ba na pag-asa na ito po ay mapag-usapan? Kasi pagka laging nauuwi sa korte, eh baka kaapu-apuhan ko, wala na ring makitang liwanag dyan. Ano lang po ba? Parang ano naman po kasi, historically, para po alam natin ang history kasi, no? Yung pong halos yung buong Camp Johnny na yan. At ito naman po, siguro po, kayo po ay batid naman po ninyo yung Carino decision ng US Supreme Court, di ba po? At yan ay ginagamit na yan ng karamihan, hindi lamang sa Pilipinas, kung hindi sa buong mundo, pati United Nation, inaano yun eh. Ang tinatanong ko po, historically, yung aming lolo, si Mateo Carino, sumuporta yan kasi kay Aguinaldo sa laban sa Amerika. Ang naging parusa ng lolo ko, kinuha yung lupa namin. Kinuha at ginawang kampo ng Amerikano, ginawang Camp Johnny. Ngayon, umalis ang mga Amerikano. Kaya namin, ma'am, pinipilit na baka sakaling isole. Ang nangyari naman, kinuha ng BCDA. Ang posisyon ng mga Carino ay wala namang kumakausap sa mga Carino. Yun lang naman ang ano namin, sino ba kasi pag pinag-usapan natin law ay magbabanggaan na yung ancestral domain at yung BCDA na yan. Ang ano lang namin, wala bang malinaw na pag-uusap patungkol dito? Talaga bang ito na ang sitwasyon namin, wala na talaga? O meron bang liwanag na magkaroon ng negosasyon? Sorry budget nito, pero nakasimple ako eh. Ano po ba ang kalagayan ngayon ng kaso?
Hindi pa pala ako nag-leave.
May party line po.
If I may again, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Senator. So, some of these cases have already reached the Supreme Court. So having said that, I think it is just but prudent, and yes, and we will wait for the High Tribunal to resolve the issues involved in these cases with finality, hopefully.
Ayan, pagka ganun ng subjudicium na ang pinag-usapan natin, wala na tayong magagawa. Opo, ano na lang po? Next question na lang. Meron po isa pa, yung mga ita sa CDA, parehos lang kami ng sitwasyon. Yun ang lagi nilang reklamo. Yung kanila pong ancestral domain, laging one-sided ang CDA. Ang nangyayari, ang Clark Development, nagdidesisyon ng sarili nila na hindi naman tinatanong yung mga ita. May mga binibigay silang lupa, katulad meron silang lupa na ang binigay lang ng mga ita daw ay 4 hectares. Pero ang ibinigay ng CDA nasa 40 hectares. So, yun ang mga tanong nila, bakit daw nangyayari? Sir, wala pa po kayo po nito, ha? Opo. Yun lang po ang mga tanong namin. Paano po ang CDA, bakit nagdidesisyon ng hindi? Dapat po kasi yun, partnership eh. Meron silang pinirmahan na MOA eh. Dapat yun, nagdidesisyon din yung mga ita. Pero ang reklamo ng mga, ako din po kasi ang chairman din po ng cultural, ano po, ano. So, na-hearing ko na po ito. Tinatanong ko lang po, hindi ba po under ng BCDA ang CDA?
Mr. Chairman, the CAD-T in Sacobia covers 10,000 hectares. Okay. And there is another CAD-T that was issued just recently covering 18,800 hectares. This is the Sacobia CAD-T and the Pora CAD-T. I understand that in the Sacobia CAD-T, what is hampering Clark Development Corporation is who are really the leaders that they are talking to regarding this CAD-T project. I suppose you are referring to the Tribong Aita case, no? There is a joint management agreement between CDC and the indigenous peoples, and what is important is really for the indigenous peoples to choose and select the leaders that will negotiate with CDC.
Opo, naayos ko na po yun, alhamdulillah. Ito pong last hearing namin, meron na po silang na-elect na kung sino po yung, katulong din po namin yung NCIP ba yun?
Yes.
Ayun, NCIP, meron na po sila. Ang ano ko lang po sana, matulungan niyo po kami, nasabihan po ang CDC na may mga karapatan ang katutubo. Hindi po maaari yung kanilang ginagawa na lagi na lang sasabihan natin yung katutubo, huli na. At higit po sa lahat, yung mga karapatan ng mga katutubo, kapag sila po ang humihingi ng halimbawa, katulad po nung hinihingi nila na sana yung kanilang pera na nandoon po sa joint agreement na yan, ay mapasa kanila na po. Kasi hanggang ngayon po, wala po silang nakukuha magmula po na nagpirmahan yung kanilang joint agreement. Yun lang po mga maliliit na bagay na ganun. Sa atin, maliit. Pero sa kanila, malaking bagay po yun. Sana matulungan nyo lang po kami bilang kayo po yung magulang nung CDC. Ma-instructionan nyo po sila na, katutubo yan, mga ninuno natin yan. Yun lamang po.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Senator, we are one with you in monitoring this and giving the directions to CDC. I don't think CDC naman will refuse or decline whatever will be good for the indigenous peoples which are occupying their area.
Ma'am, asahan ko yan, ma'am. Opo, sa next hearing, sana mabalitaan ko na ibigay na yung pera nila. Last na lang po na tanong. Opo, bilang ako po matagal din po akong nagserbisyo bilang tagapagsalita po ng Philippine Army. Gusto ko lamang po malaman kung, kasi nung una po namin nag-hearing po kami, sabi nila, may mga pumupunta po sa kanilang budget na pumupunta dun sa paggawa ng bala natin. Napakahalaga po kasi noon na magkaroon tayo ng sariling supply ng bala. Tayo gumagawa ng bala natin, tayo gumagawa ng baril natin. Opo, naibibigay po ba lahat yun? Di ba po kasi sa batas, meron po kayong binibigay na porsyento sa ating armed forces?
Mr. Chairman, hindi po kasali sa BCDA yung arsenal natin. Ang pinambibili natin ng bala ay galing mismo sa GAA. So every year we allocate a certain amount and then that is what we use for procuring ammunition. Na ngayon po, ang gusto nating mangyari, magkaroon tayo ng kakayahan na magawa ng bala sa ating mga arsenal. Pero wala pa tayong pera na bumili ng umangkat ng makabagong kagamitan. So one of the initiative that I did when I was SND was to talk to some legislators to convert the arsenal into a defense industry hub. Hindi naman po pumasa siguro lately. Nag-usap kami ni Senator Gatchalian, Sir Win. At sabi ko sa kanya, Senator, baka ngayon pwede natin ipasa yun na gawin natin yung 280 hectares na lupa natin sa Limay to become defense industrial hub. Thank you.
Salamat po aming mahal na kalihim. Nabanggit ko lang po yan kasi nung minsan po na nag-hearing kami ni Senator Bato, naitanong po namin yan doon sa arsenal. Ang sabi niya, kung natatandaan ko po, ang sabi niya, gumagawa tayo ng sarili nating bala. Opo.
Yun lang po maliliit.
Yung maliliit po, opo.
Small arms lang, small arms.
Opo, opo. Ay, nakikita ko si Senator Bato. Ayun. Senator, Chairman.
After Senator has a question, but siguro after your question, pagkatapos si Senator Padilla. Please proceed, Senator De La Rosa.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just rejoinder lang doon sa question ni Senator Robin Hood Padilla. Totoo po yun. Nung tinanong ko yung director ng government arsenal natin ngayon, tinanong ko kung yung share ninyo sa AAP modernization, kasi nakalagay yan sa batas a certain percentage mapupunta sa government arsenal. Very clear yun, nakalagay doon sa batas na yun. Kung natatanggap ba nila yon for the modernization of our government arsenal. Ang sagot nila, parang hesitant siyang sumagot. So I take it as a negative na parang ayaw niyang mabudget siya sa higher ups. Ayaw niya magsalita na wala kami natatanggap. Pero I just reminded him na i-insist mo yon dahil meron yan sa batas nakalagay talaga a portion of that sale ng ating mga military camps sa NCR kasama doon sa modernization ng ating government arsenal. And it's very crucial. Hindi yan siya dapat natin i-disregard. Kailangan talagang tutukan natin yan dahil hindi natin alam yung sitwasyon. Kailangan ma-modernize yung government arsenal natin. Kailangan talaga. Maliit lang tayo na bansa. And we have to defend ourselves kung kinakailangan anytime. Ngayon nga, hirap tayo bili ng mga primer, mga components ng mga small arms lang, mga pulbura, mga heads, mga shell sa ibang bansa dahil may gira sa Ukraine. mahirapan tayo mag-import, kung meron man napakamahal. So kung ma-modernize natin itong government arsenal natin, tayo, self-sufficient tayo sa bala pagdating sa requirements natin sa bala. Kaya tanungin ko lang si ma'am kung binibigyan ba niyo ang government arsenal ng share? Kasi nakalagay sa batas yan eh. For the government arsenal. Ewan ko kung I just want to ask your answer, ma'am, kung nabibigyan ba niyo pag-sharing?
Mr. Chairman, can I answer that? Senator
Please proceed.
Bato,
Yes, sir.
di ba sagutin kita? You know, although the arsenal is part of the agencies that should receive the some of the funds from the Bcda earnings, ay depende na po yun sa AFP kung ano yung priorities nila. Because in the past years that I was the SND, hindi naman nila binibigyan ng malaking share yung arsenal. But the arsenal has been requesting money through the GAA kung ano yung gagamitin nila. But kasi nga yung perang binibigay sa atin naman ng BCDA is not enough to modernize the whole AFP. And ang nakikita ko, sabi na ang palagay ko, ang tingin ng AFP ay second priority nila yung arsenal because they want to buy other more pressing concerns like mga barko, aeroplano, helicopters, and all those things. Anyway, yung arsenal naman is capable of producing the small arms for the armed forces at saka ng police every year. So, I agree with you, Senator Bato, that we should modernize our arsenal. Dapat noon pa yan, nahuli na tayo. And I think maybe this Congress will be able to pass a law to convert the arsenal into an industrial defense complex. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Can I
Chairman.
react, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Senator.
Yes, sir. There goes again the problem ng implementation ng batas. Dahil nga, alam mo yung batas niya, sir, bago yan lumabas, pinagdibatihan ng gusto yan ng mapakagaling ng mga senador noon-noon pa, yung mga veteranong senador bago lumabas yan. At sana, yung executive branch of government na mag-implementa ng batas na yan, ay sundin nila yung nakalagay sa batas. Ang pangit po yun eh. Ginawa yung batas na yan, tapos hindi natin na-implement dahil yung executive branch parang gumawa na rin ng sariling batas. Very clear nakalagay sa batas yan na a percentage of this pupunta doon sa government arsenal. Ngayon, pinababayaan natin yung government arsenal. Hindi na modernize. So, sayang yung batas natin kung hindi natin na-implementa. Ginawa naman yung batas niyan para sa kabutihan ng ating bansa eh. Para sa kabutihan ng ating government arsenal. So, sana, kung bigyan kasi natin sila ng leeway to implement or not, yung batas na iniinak natin sa Kongreso ay hindi po maganda yan. Para bang ini-snub na tayo ng taga-execute ng batas. Hindi sinusunod yung batas na ginagawa natin. They are free to choose what laws they want to implement or not. So nakalagay yan sa batas, dapat sundin natin yan. Yun lang sir sa akin sir sana ako naman para sa kabutihan ng ating government arsenal dahil nakita ko talaga very crucial yung papel ng ating government arsenal. Dapat ma-develop yan. Nakalagay yan doon sa batas na bigyan ninyo ng percentage from the sale of this Metro Manila camps. May nakalagay doon para sa government arsenal. Susundin natin yung batas. Yun lang sir. Maraming salamat na Mr. Chairman.
Maraming salamat, Senator De La Rosa. And ako po ay nakikiisa kay Senator De La Rosa at kay Senator Padilla sa layunin na magkaroon ng isang defense industry. And of course, with Secretary Lorenzana, kailangan natin para maging mas independent tayo. Pag nagka-problema, mahirap naman kung hintayin po natin ang importation sa labas. Diba? Dapat meron tayong sariling defense industry that can support us in the event that we need to protect ourselves. I think that's I believe in that very strongly. Kaya gusto ko rin sa ibang mga debate namin sa trade and industry, gusto ko talaga i-encourage ang defense na magkaroon tayo ng isang masiglang defense industry katulad ng ibang bansa. Kahit Indonesia or Korea, most Asian countries have their own defense industry. I hope we can work together with the BCDA. Meron kayong pondo. Sana mag-allocate din tayo ng pondo para suportahan. It can be as simple as ordering from our local suppliers of simple pagbala or siguro simple, maybe even assault rifles or sidearms. Kasi very simple na yung technology. It's not even it's not even a very complex technology now. So I hope we can have the commitment of the BCDA that we all work together to support our defense industry.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, especially as our chairman is the former Secretary of National Defense. But we would like to point out that the 56.4 billion pesos that we remitted to the Bureau of the Treasury, the projects and the priorities of the Department of National Defense and the AFP are the ones which drive the allocation of these disposition proceeds. And under the law, the AFP modernization, the transfer of AFP military camps, the construction of new camps, and the rehabilitation and expansion of AFP's medical facilities, and the modernization of the government arsenal are provided specifically in the law. So the priorities of the DND and AFP are really the ones that will drive the allocation of the government arsenal.
Yes, thank you. I understand. That's why I hope we can work together to emphasize that this is a very important aspect of our national defense and also at the same time nakaka-generate din ng trabaho pag naging masigla yung defense industry natin. It can also generate many jobs locally, especially in the manufacturing sector, and maybe even allow us to become competitive internationally as some firms, local firms already have become. So hopefully that can be emphasized. So thank you very much. And are there any other questions?
Wala na po, meron lang pong follow-up na hindi naman po ito tanong, ano lang po, patungkol po doon sa pagbigay po ninyo ng order sa CDC. Baka pwede pong i-ano nyo rin po yung opisina namin kung ano po yung communication nyo po sa kanila. Okay, salamat po.
Mr. Chairman, nagdagan ko
Yes,
lang
please,
po yung sa Arsenal. I believe that Senator De La Rosa is the chairman of the Defense and Security. Yeah. Siguro, Senator De La Rosa, you can, during your hearing for the budget of the defense, is to remind the Defense Department and the AFP to allocate a certain amount of the money of the from BCDA for the modernization of the government arsenal.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Please proceed, Senator De La Rosa.
Yes, sir. Chairman Lorizana, sir, maasahan mo po yan, sir. Itaga mo sa bato. Hindi ko papalulusutin yung budget ng DND-AFP kapag hindi nasundin yung batas na ginawa ng Kongreso pertaining to that. Dahil nakalagay talaga sa batas yan eh. Siguruhin ko, sir, na mabigyan ng kaukulang pundo yung government arsenal. Kailangan talaga natin yan. And I don't think there is any official coming from the DND or AFP that will oppose my belief that bala, kailangan natin. Walang kwenta yung baril natin pag walang bala. Makipagsaksakan tayo sa kalaban, makipagbatuta tayo sa kalaban, karate tayo sa mga kalaban pag mawalan din ng bala. Hindi po natin kayang gawin yan. Kaya kailangan talaga natin yan, sir. Yun lang, Mr. Chairman. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, sir.
Salamat, Sen. At talagang itataga natin sa bato. Dahil pag nangyari yan, magiging wonderful tonight tayong lahat. At syempre, hindi tayo pwede maging tahimik lang sa mga ganung bagay.
Yes po. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So without any additional questions, comments, or clarifications, Any more? Wala na po. The budget of the Bases Conversion and Development Authority is hereby approved at the committee level and deemed submitted to the plenary, taking into consideration the discussions today. I would like to convey my gratitude to my colleagues. Thank you very much for your honors, to the BCD officials and your respective staff for the well-prepared budget presentation. I would also like to thank all the employees of the Senate and the senatorial staff here who made this hearing possible and smooth. The Committee on Finance staff, the Subcommittee M team, the LBRMO, the OSAA, and the senatorial staff present, among others. Thank you very much. Congratulations, and this hearing is hereby suspended.